About 2 years ago, I laced up these, the Nike Wildhorse 8 trail running shoe, and I really didn't know what to expect after a pretty checkered history with their trail shoes. And if I'm honest, lots of disappointments, but I actually really enjoyed that first run and turned out to be a shoe that I enjoyed running in, even if it was a little bit too heavy for my liking. And I'd say it's one of my better Nike trail experiences. But we are back today with the latest version of these, the Wildhorse 10, in this rather unusual pale blue and pink colorway. One of the stranger trail shoe colors that I've come across. But let's dive into the video, give you a few facts and figures about the shoes, then I'm going to be lacing them up and taking them out for their first run. How is everyone doing out there? I hope you are all fit and well and managing to get out on lots of exciting running adventures. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So it is first impressions time again at the channel, so let's dive straight in and give you a few facts and figures about the new Nike Wildhorse 10. So first up, the all-important price, and they retail here in the UK for £135. Weight-wise, my pair in a UK 9.5 tips the scales at a pretty hefty 341 grams. So Nike haven't really addressed my weight issue that I had with the previous version, although the 10s are a whopping 2 grams lighter than the 8s, but never mind, moving on from that. We do get a slightly deeper stack in the midsole as well. So we got 38mm of cushioning at the heel and 28.5mm under the forefoot, giving the Wildhorse 10 a rather unusual 9.5mm heel offset. As far as the construction goes, we've got a lot of the usual trail running shoe features going on. So we got a well padded gusseted tongue with a handy little pull loop at the top, a good level of structure and padding around the ankle collar and in the heel cup, a pretty standard looking lace system with some overlays around the eyelets just to give you a bit of extra durability. And Nike have used these little notched laces, so they should provide me with a nice secure lockdown around my midfoot. And then finishing up, we've got this nice soft, highly breathable engineered mesh fabric used for the bulk of the upper construction. And Nike have also wrapped that outsole up around the toe there just to give you a little bit more upfront trail protection. Two of the standout features for me when it comes to the Wildhorse 8 was number one, upper fit, seemed to work really well for my foot shape, and two was midsole performance. So the React cushioning in that midsole offered me a good level of comfort over distance, but it also seemed to offer me good levels of energy return. However, this time round in the Wildhorse 10, Nike have chosen to use their React X foam. Now, they claim that this is 13% more responsive than previous React technology, but they also say that it's a lightweight foam. Now, with the shoes weighing in at a whopping 341 grams in a UK 9.5, I'm not sure how light this foam actually is. So I guess we're going to have to wait until we're running to find out if that is really the case. To be fair, pushing into that foam in the midsole, it does feel soft and bouncy, so you never know, maybe it will be 13% more responsive. And then moving down, last but not least, the all-important outsole. And you can see on the side of the midsole there that the Wildhorse comes with Nike Trails ATC rubber on the outsole, and this stands for all-terrain compound. So unfortunately, we don't get any Vibram Mega Grip rubber on the new Wildhorse like we did on the Kiger 10, and this really is a big shame because I have had some serious grip issues when I've been running in Nike trail shoes in the wet with their in-house rubber on the outsole. So fingers crossed, and hopefully things have changed for the better this time round. However, we do have what looks like a nice chunky 5mm lug depth on the new Wildhorse, and unfortunately no details on the Nike website about lug depth, so I had to grab out the Run4Adventure ruler, give them a quick measure. Also, they've got a little small letter N on the forefoot lugs and a small letter S on the heel lugs. Now, I have no idea what that's for. Is it for north and south? I really don't know. So if you do know what those letters are all about, get in the comments below and let me know what's going on with them. And then finally, poking through the rubber, you can see these little round circles there, and that is Nike's rock plate worked into the forefoot. So that's going to offer the runner a little bit of extra underfoot protection when you're running on rocky, sharp trails. So there you have it, folks, the all-new Nike Wildhorse 10, and I've got to say it, I tried it on indoors just to check the sizing, and this upper seems to work well for my foot shape again, good lockdown around my midfoot, and it felt very comfortable straight out the box, but it does have a very shallow toe box, and this is something that I found with other Nike shoes I've tested out on the channel, so hopefully this doesn't cause me any issues on today's run, and it's going to be interesting to see how that feels. And actually, speaking of running, I think it's about time we put these shoes to the test. So let's get out in the sunshine, let's take them for a run. What a glorious morning. So we're up early, it's 7:30. We've got a busy few days coming up going into the weekend. Lots of exciting stuff going on behind the scenes, but we're also doing our longest race of the year so far on Saturday. This video will be going up on Sunday, so we've already done the race. So fingers crossed, hopefully it went okay. As far as the Nike trail shoe goes, well, I would say it's true to size like most Nike shoes that I test out on the channel. So this UK 9.5 is giving me just the right length in the toe box, and I'd say there's average width there as well. But like I did mention at home, I thought it was quite a shallow shoe, and it definitely is, but not just in the toe box, also at the midfoot. So I haven't got a deep or wide foot, and I would say if you did have a bit of a depth to your foot, a high instep, then you'd probably struggle in the Wildhorse 10. However, for my foot shape, it is fitting really well, just like the Wildhorse 8 did. So really nice, comfortable, secure lockdown around my midfoot, a nice hold in the heel, and those little notch laces, when you pull them down tight, they really do lock down well. So I should imagine they're not going to work loose over the run, but 2 miles in, we want to get in 7 to 8 miles today, so we better crack on, because like I said, we're in a rush. We've got lots of stuff going on over the next 5 days. Okay, so we've looped around, we're heading back home, but we've got a nice long downhill section, so we're going to up the pace, see how the Wildhorse 10 handles it. We are almost done, so 7.4 miles. We've got a bit of tarmac to soak up before we get home, so it's going to be closer to 8 miles, and I think that's a good distance in a brand new shoe straight out of the box. And Nike have made another comfortable trail shoe with the Wildhorse 10. Really enjoying the feel of that React X midsole. It feels like it's bouncing me along nicely. It's very comfortable, and nice to be back in a Nike shoe after the disappointment of the midsole on the Terra Kyga. It just felt very flat, very old school, whereas this seems to be delivering good levels of energy return. Glorious morning. It's been great to get out early, get the run done. Now we're going to get back home. Like I said, a couple of busy days ahead of us, but fun packed days as well. But let's get back to the studio, wrap it up with a conclusion. Well, for an early morning run, it was pretty toasty out there, and not that I'm complaining, you know, I love the sun. In fact, I think I was a lizard in a previous life because, you know, when I feel the warmth of those sun rays on my body, it seems to give me energy. But we managed 8.5 miles in the Nike Wildhorse 10s for the first time, and it was a very comfortable and enjoyable run. But now it's time to rehydrate the system, refuel, and get the body ready for the big race at the weekend, Farmageddon. Now, if you didn't see our last video and you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say Farmageddon, then it's definitely worth a watch because we go into detail and tell you all about what we're going to be up to this weekend. As far as the shoes go, very similar to the Wildhorse 8s, the 10s felt very comfortable on the run across the Hale Towns, which looked stunning in the Cornish sun. Uppers seemed to work well for my foot shape and gave me everything that I'm sort of looking for in a pair of trail running shoes. So a nice secure midfoot hold, no slippage or movement in the heel, laces that don't work loose once you get running, and just a comfortable running experience. So no rubbing, no chafing, no hot spots or anything like that. Although I will say it did feel quite warm in this upper, and it was actually a good test for that this morning because, like I said, it was pretty toasty, and by the end of the run, my feet did feel quite hot. So I'm not sure how breathable this upper construction is. The highlight for me has to be this React X midsole. Now, I've always been a big fan of React foam when it comes to the feel and performance, and this React X really didn't disappoint. So felt really nice and comfortable on all the different types of terrain I ran today, even the short sections of tarmac I had to do to get to and from the trails. And Nike have also worked in that forefoot rock shield as well, and that offered me really good levels of underfoot protection when I picked up any sort of rocky, stony, sharp trails. And on the more compacted pathways, this did seem to bounce me along nicely, and it was a very different feel when I compare it to that slightly disappointing and flat feeling midsole in the new Kiger 10s that we tested out recently. Now, I know these are very different trail running shoes when we compare those midsoles, but I definitely prefer the feel of this React X foam when I compare it to that slightly dated feeling Cushlon 3.0 foam in the Kiger. This felt softer, more comfortable, but also a lot more fun to run with, just because of the sort of high levels of bounce and energy return. Obviously, you could see that it's super dry out on the trails down here in Cornwall, so unfortunately, I didn't get to test out this ATC rubber outsole when running on sort of wet, slippery trails. Hopefully, it's going to perform better than previous trail shoes I've tested on the channel with sort of in-house Nike rubber outsoles, and I can't help but think maybe it would have been a better option to put sticky Vibram Mega Grip rubber on the bottom like they did on the Kiger 10, but you know, you can't have everything in life. However, these chunky 5mm lugs on the outsole did seem to give me a very good level of traction on any sort of loose gravelly trails and in all the soft sand. So wrapping up, after my first run in the latest Wildhorse from Nike, and I think the brand has created another very comfortable trail running option. However, I would have liked to seen them strip a bit more weight off the shoe, you know, at 341 grams in a UK 9.5, it is pretty heavy, and if you're a UK 11.5, 12, then this is going to be a very heavy trail running shoe option. I'd like to see them maybe get it down to closer to 300 grams in a UK 9.5, and I think if they did that in the future, it really would improve the all-round performance. And even though the toe box and the midfoot are quite shallow, that actually works well for my foot shape. So I got a nice, secure, comfortable lockdown and fit, just like I did in the Wildhorse 8. Although we did have that issue with the upper running quite warm, and I actually think if the Kiger 10 and the Wildhorse 10 got together and had a love child, the combination of that super lightweight, very breathable upper of the Kiger paired up with this bouncy but stable React X midsole would actually make a pretty good combination. So maybe that's something Nike need to think about in the future, but you know, who am I trying to kid? Like Nike are going to listen to anything I've got to say. And on that note, it brings today's video to an end. And obviously, these are just my initial thoughts after today's first run. And hopefully I can get some good miles in these over the next few weeks. And then we'll be back with a detailed full review. But have you been running in a pair of the new Wildhorse 10s? What do you think about it? Do you agree with my findings? Or do you think something completely different? Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But for now guys, thanks for watching the channel, it's always appreciated. Don't forget, if you did enjoy the video and you found it helpful, to like, comment and subscribe. It's super easy to do, only takes a few seconds and it is completely free, but a very big help to the channel indeed. We'll be back here soon with some more interesting running content, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. They also claim that it's a lightweight foam, and you know, with this shoe weighing in at 400, no. We've got a well padded gusseted tongue. We've also got a pretty standard looking pair of... And number 2 was Midsole Performance. The React foaming, the cushioning... React foaming... This is something that's happened with me in the past with some Nike trail shoes, so hopefully this isn't going to cause an issue. It's going to be interesting to feel